Hey everybody. Hey, how's everyone doing today? Who's loving Acapulco? Yeah? Who has never been here before? Is this your first time here? Raise your hands. Okay, this is great. Who feels like they don't want to leave? Many of us felt that way too. I'm Catherine Bleish. I came to my first Anarchapulco 2 years ago, 2018. I was a speaker. Last year, I decided to volunteer on the health and wellness stage, and I stayed for 6 months. My first visit was 6 weeks, my second was 6 months, and now I'm here for the month of February. I love it here. I want to create a second home here. We're going to introduce our panel. We're going to start with Doug. These are people who have relocated here, and Amparo is a local who grew up here. Local. She's a local who grew up here and who has become a really important part of our community. You may have seen her restaurant at Verde Vegan. So Doug, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi there, I'm Doug Barbieri. I came here in last year around this time, actually in January, and like Catherine, I was kind of on and off. I went back because I came here and I was like, well, I want to know if I'm going to like living here. And then I went back home for a bit and then missed the hell out of the place and then came back. And eventually I met my girlfriend Soledad, who's in the audience right there. And she and I lived together here in Acapulco. So it's been an awesome journey.
And I'm Michael Nimitz, and I came to the first Anarchapulco in 2015 and with my girlfriend. And we decided, we're going to stick around for a little bit, maybe a couple weeks. And I haven't left yet. I love this place. I do. And I love it more every day.
I'm Lily Forrester. I came here 4 years ago on the run, without papers, but I knew when I crossed the border, I was like, fuck yeah, this is home. I'm not in California anymore, thank God.
Hi, I'm Paro Manzanares, so I'm a local here. I born here and raised here. I went to Monterrey only for my nutritionist scholar, and I found Verde Vegan, the restaurant. That's my spot, so that's me.
And do you plan to leave?
Here. I plan to stay here.
We're in paradise, right? Okay, so next question. Planes, trains, automobiles, there's lots of ways to get to Acapulco. I drove with my dog, last year with my cat because we got her here and so we had to bring her back, my 2 children, and my fiance Pablo. How did you all arrive in Acapulco?
Well, the first time I came here in 2016, I came for an Acapulco, and that was the reason why I fell in love with Acapulco. I knew I was going to come back. And then the second time was in 2019 I came. But I decided I wanted to come to Acapulco early for an Acapulco and actually rent a house and live here and see what it's like. So I flew and rented a car, that sort of thing. Eventually, though, when I decided I am going to move here and stay here, I drove. And I used to live in California, about Northern California. Took my car, drove all the way down. It was an awesome journey. If you stick with the autopistas, it's fantastic. It's really easy. So yeah, I drove.
I took an airplane, but I do want to say that I wanted to leave the United States for a while, and so I had been all over the world. We actually tried to drive into Canada about a year prior to coming down to Mexico and ended up being thrown out of Canada and unable to go to Canada to this day because of that. And so I was a little bit afraid of actually coming down and, like the immigration and stuff. And of course, customs on the American side. But once I got through that, and onto the plane and coming to Mexico, just the first go round through the Mexican, customs version, I was like, oh, thank God, and I've really never wanted to travel since. I think this is the place I'm going to live and probably die in.
Yeah, for me, for people that know our story, they know we drove in a crazy epic tale, but it was basically, we had a Chevy S10 that we had just bought from a retired cop and said, fuck it, we're driving to Acapulco, and drove the whole coast down the west coast of Mexico on the free roads, the roads they tell you, yeah, I know, you're gonna die if you drive on those roads. Well, we slept on those roads. We camped on those roads in our truck. But like, nothing happened. It was a great experience. I'd do it again. I want to do it again this time with cameras. I didn't have a camera. I was on the run.
Well, but I just born here. Maybe the universe want me to be here.
Born here. That's a great way to arrive. Okay, so many of you have talked about getting here, and you mentioned some fear around customs and borders and things like that. So I thought it would be nice to talk to everyone about if you've had some sort of issue with paperwork or the legal system. I know there's a lot of fear, propaganda, especially in the United States. Raise your hand if you've read some scary things about where we are. And it's a little unsettling, right? So for those of us who have spent long periods of time here, I have a feeling I know what your response is going to be. My response is that I haven't really had any scary, complicated situations. We've had some paperwork issues driving down, and a little of this went a long way. So, for me, I have found that I feel very welcome here, and I feel in a way kind of catered to, because obviously I'm a freckle-covered Caucasian girl. My son is blonde. We stand out greatly to the community, and I feel like we're very welcome here. So what is your experience culturally and legally in the process of arriving here or living here?
Well, the customs process is super easy for Mexico. I mean, just when you fly, you have to fill out that little piece of paper, and then you have to hold on to that piece of paper when you leave. But you literally, now I think that somebody told me, oh no, you have to stay out of the country for a couple of days. But I've literally gone to like Tijuana, crossed over, and then turned around and come back, and to renew. You can stay here for like up to 6 months, which is, I mean, really long. And they're very, at least. That may change, but the customs in Mexico is really, at least at Tijuana, the only thing you have to do if you bring your car, and you have to be aware of this, is the northern states, you can just drive your car anywhere you want. You don't have to register it. It doesn't matter. But if you want to go south after you leave a certain area, I don't know it off the top of my head, but they're going to start checking. They'll pull you over, and they'll want to see your what's called a tip. So you have to register your car with Bannerjito, and then which is a bank, and then you have to you get this sticker you put on your car, and then it's good for as long as your visa is good for, and then they want you to turn around and leave with your car, renew your visa, get a new tip, and then come back. That's kind of how it works.
I don't believe in any of that. So I just live in the place that I love to live in, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm really not going to be traveling anywhere. If anybody wants to come see me, they can come here, because this is paradise for me, and makes it real easy. So I don't really need any paperwork, and I don't have any.
Preach.
Okay, so I've got all sorts of issues when it comes to that stuff. How I got here, I actually, shout out to Jeff Berwick, he gave me the advice, go Tijuana Friday night, they'll be too busy. And he was right, I made it. We made it together, John Galton and I did, and yeah, lots of legal issues, still have warrants, still trying to figure it out. I'm raising money / working and saving money to hire a lawyer and maybe, hopefully, eventually be off the run and legal.
And Lily, that's warrants in the United States.
There's warrants in the United States for cannabis. I decided to not go to prison for something silly. Yeah. But it was just one of those things where, I'm the testament that you can survive here at least for 4 years without identification.
Well, yes, it's very easy. I drive a lot of when I was living in Monterrey to United States, so the border is very easy to get in. Not to get into United States, that's quite difficult. But to get in Mexico is very easy.
Now, when people arrive in Acapulco, my experience was a little bit of shock about the military driving around in the back of pickup trucks. Did anyone notice that? Did that make anyone feel uneasy? A couple people. I felt uneasy, but I also had some pre-existing traumas from my activism and arrests in the United States. So I felt a little uneasy right? So I felt a little uneasy when I first got here. And I'm wondering if you all would give your input on what appears to be a standing army and what it's like to live in a community with this sort of display of militarism.
Well, a lot of times I feel sorry for the military guys because apparently there's compulsory military service, and these guys got to stand around in the super hot summer or super hot heat here in the full uniform. It's really uncomfortable. I don't feel as sorry for the police because they do that job voluntarily, but the military guys, I feel, and actually, these guys are usually friendly. They're cool. Like when I was coming down, there was a military checkpoint, which probably Lily will fill you in on what you can do with that. She never stops, but I decided to stop. And they searched my car, and they were just looking for like guns and drugs. I think guns are technically illegal, and obviously drugs are too. And at one point, this guy, I had bring some California wine back with me, and one of the guys said, "Oh, what's this?" And I said, "Oh, it's California wine." And he, as a joke, he went, "Ooh, mine," and we laughed about it. These guys are like totally cool, and they let me go. I've never had any problems with the military guys. Like I said, they're pretty laid back, and again, I kind of feel sorry for them a little bit. So, but I think they're just there for just an appearance, So Acapulco's had a lot of problems with cartels, and they want to try to look strong. And I don't think it's designed to intimidate you necessarily, but if it does, don't worry about these guys.
Yeah, I would totally reiterate that. That's essentially what it is. It's just like anything else. It's a show, and it's not really, anything beyond that. So kind of think about it as actors playing a role. Because I spent a few years in the military, and I kind of know from that perspective what the soldier is thinking, and it's essentially hurry up and wait, do it. Here's what your assignment is for today. And, for the most part, they're just trying to, get through their life like everybody else. And if you kind of have that perspective, and also the perspective of you being your own authority, when you're not doing anything wrong and someone stops you, there's no reason for them to stop you. And so in most cases, you can say, I'm going here, leave me alone, no thank you, and they will. You just persist with that. Especially for expats. I don't know so much about Mexicans. They get a little bit more. But.
I have an interesting perspective. I mean, when it comes to checkpoints, I won't stop, even if they try. You can ask Jason Henza. They put a orange thing that they just moved in front of my car once, and I said no thank you and drove through it. But in terms of them on the street, they're just bored. Like, they've pet my dog before and stuff. They seem hot and bored. But yeah, that's the police are the thing that you can't do in the United States. And they don't really bother you unless they're trying to get money, at least if you look like this.
Well, for a Mexican perspective, the military people that they are like that you look in the streets is because in 2008, Acapulco was a very dangerous even for local people. There was a lot of problems there, so that battle ends now, but the security is still there. So if you are staying in the main street and you don't go to the neighbors that are very, very, very careful to to be just a local. It's very like be careful when you go there. It's like some people's even in a city in the United States, you know the neighbors, you've never been there because it's dangerous. So it's the same here. So you're not gonna have any problem if you are in touristic sites or are you in the main streets or walking in the night. It's just it's not what you heard in the news. Acapulco, it's a very safe place. I born here. I've been here like for 25 years because I left 5 years home. So it's not the thing that you heard in the news, and you can start a business here. Yes, the military has, like Michael says, like some schedule that they have to do at the day. It's very hot weather, yes, and I saw them like, oh my God, this is like, yeah, they are sweating all day. But if they are making, or you saw like a spot of you have to stop, it's not because they want you to see your things. It's because there is like an order in command that someone, like the mafia or something, is going to pass, or they have the call that something is happening, so they have to put that policeman stops. But it's not because, oh, you're a hippie gringo, so we're gonna go to you. No, 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 no. That's not how it works here in Mexico. That's more if you look like more Mexican, yeah, more Mexican, suspicious guy, they're gonna stop you.
I know for us, we have driven through checkpoints. Some of us here in our caravan down 2 weeks ago, we just drove through. There's a couple that you need to stop at, like toll roads and the border and things like that. But multiple times, officers tried to step out and stop us, and we were 3 cars deep, and we just zoom, zoom, zoom right on through and wave and smile, act like you have no idea what's going on, and
that is the way to handle it. Just act like you don't know what's going on, and if they do manage to stop you, just yell at them in English until they let you go. That's what I do, and then they,
or pay them some money, whatever works for you. But generally, one piece of advice that I would like to give is never hand your actual ID to a member of law enforcement in another country. Keep copies of your passport, keep copies of your driver's license, and if you get pulled over, hand that through. And that's never been a problem for me anywhere. Obviously, at the border, I do show my passport. So I think we can get through 2 more questions if we're brief, maybe 3 if we're really on fire here. I am wondering, now that you're here and raised here, what do you do to make money? How do you keep a living? What is it like coming to, a super affordable place from a very expensive place? And how do you maintain a standard of living without having a 9-to-5 in the United States?
Well, I actually have a 9-to-5 online. I work for, if you're familiar with cryptocurrencies, if you know the Exodus wallet, Exodus movement, I work for them. It's a 100% online company. So if you find a job like that, or you can set up an online business of some kind, that's the perfect way of making money, I think, because then I can do that anywhere in the world. I don't have to be in any particular place. But there are other people that have come up with other options, but that's how I make my living.
Yeah, I think I came down with a bit of savings, so that didn't come. I've really kind of redesigned my life as I've gone along, and certainly the fact that I don't really use any kind of ID or paperwork. I don't have any bank accounts or any of that kind of stuff. I've got to really rely on other people to kind of help me. So other people have to like take payments for me and essentially hold my money. And man, I really love doing that because it is kind of building trust with people, other people, and kind of building a community of people around me that kind of help me do the business that I do. And for me, I'm really about kind of helping people succeed. And so I've got a couple different things. I've got a project I call Ethical Emergence, which is a course that I try and teach for people that are specifically looking to succeed. And then I've got a couple other projects. Actually, the AEX thing that's going on, the Anarchapulco experience, is something that I'm trying to delve into to encourage people to come early and stay late. And that's something I'm really excited about, because I think there's some real opportunities here that I love to introduce people that have an entrepreneurial spirit and want to kind of look at things in a different way. And I certainly think Acapulco's got that opportunity to demonstrate a lot of the stuff that technology has in conjunction with the location that we have here, plus the people. The people are amazing down here, and I'd love to touch on that for a bit.
Well, we got a rapid fire. Sorry, y'all. This really should be an hour or longer panel next year, don't you think? There's so much information here, and you can pick all of our brains. So if we can rapid fire through this, and I have one more question plus closing, come find us at the event. We are all accessible to you, and we will answer any questions you have.
Okay, yeah, I hustle online mostly. I used to do more locally within the community, but as I've kind of dispersed myself around Mexico, I rely on online work. And I will do any entry-level online work, even if I haven't done it before, to try it. I do transcribing, writing, editing, audio engineering, all sorts of different things, and I make crafts and I sell them, and yeah, I just basically do whatever I can to make money. Agorism.
I'll just say she's amazing when it comes to like entrepreneurial stuff. She's done everything.
Queen of hustle.
She's like cooked food and like sold dinners at her house, kind of turned her house into a restaurant.
He's eaten a lot of my food, so he would know. I used to be a chef, so that was one of my hustles back in the day, was his chef.
Well, the first advice that I will tell you all, I know Mexico is cheaper than United States, but you have to have your savings, because sometimes it's just $1, it's just $2, and then you notice that, okay, now if you count the amount, the bill's gonna be like boom. So that's the first advice. And the second one is, as a part of that community, we have been working for 5 years with Anarchapulco. So that Verde Vegan and Verde Pistache that we do is to support them. I buy a lot of things of Lily. I support another cat also with some toothpaste. So if you have any products about health, about food, about organic stuff, oils, just come to us and we can like help you to sell them, or connect to people that we know and connect to doctors. Also, if you need some work with an architect or whatever you are working in the United States, we will connect. We know a lot of people, so don't feel that you are alone here in Acapulco.
Thank you. All right, so we've got 1 minute each for each of you. I'm sorry that we have to rapid fire this answer because I think it's really important. How do you feel Anarchapulco attendees and anarchist expats are received by the community here in Acapulco? Do you see relationships growing? You have 1 minute, and I'm going to cut you off if you go over. And any closing remarks as well.
I think that in general, people from the United States and other countries are pretty well received here. People are really friendly, I've noticed. No matter where you go, everybody is cordial. I mean, you might run into a few people that are not very nice, but it's very few and far between. The businesses are very eager to please. They welcome you with open arms here. I mean, from all the way from easy customs all the way to just show up and rent a place, and they want your business and they want you here. So I've never had any problems since I've been here. I just walked right in and I really felt right at home, like practically from day one. So your mileage may vary, but that's my experience.
Yeah, I'll just tell a little story. Me and Victor, my driver, we were coming up from Lily's, and it was actually one of the times when we were kind of the martial law situation, and we were driving up the hill, and a guy came around on a scooter and crashed in the middle of the road, probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And every single car on the road basically pulled over, and people ran out to the middle, picked the guy up, picked up his stuff, picked up his motorcycle, basically took care of him. And I think that's kind of an embodiment of like how people actually care about each other here. it really is totally different from what you'd experience in the Western world when it comes to how people care about each other. You know, you hear about all these stories about violence and stuff like that, but the inverse of that is that people really do understand and care about people that care about each other, you know.
I got to cut you off there, Mike. Thank you. I'm serious.
I was laughing about that. Sorry. Okay, so like, on that note a little bit, they'll stand up for you too, because I have a video actually still. It's one of the few things I have, but it's of John and I, after we got in a police chase and we took off on foot on our motorcycle. We jumped off and ran off, and then we came back and they were towing our motorcycle, so we started yelling at them. And we had our phones out, so we filmed it from the whole thing of walking back up. And it ended in, I don't know, maybe 50 locals swarming the cops and yelling at the cops. A couple of them big, fat, and drunk, just like, "What are you doing? They're tourists. Let them go." And the cops just sitting there, and you can see them sweating. Yeah, they'll stand up for you. And after the murder and everything, I had so many locals say they had candles lit for him in their little family altar thing. It's, you build family here. Also, part of why I
got to
came
cut.
back, I got
I'm
family.
sorry. Your minute's up. I love you.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna give my time to her.
Okay, yeah, I spend so much time here building family, meeting people, getting immersed in the community. I came back because I got a Mexican dad. I've got some other people that are, I got to say hi to. And I pop in and I say hi, especially at the market, It's a special place. Although living here is fucking hot. That's all I have, really.
Okay, so as you can see, those of us who have lived here or continue to live here, we love it. It's amazing. It's a beautiful community and a beautiful culture. It's so family friendly, and there's so much more information that we could share. If I can leave you with one parting piece of advice, it's to come give it a try. Paulo and I came to test it for 6 months, and we fell in love, and we are doing whatever we can to move mountains to always have an accessible place, a home for us here in Acapulco. Thank you guys for joining us today.
And you're always welcome in Acapulco.